centered. I can see all of you. Shalina, please turn on your camera. Okay. Otherwise, Shakil, can you please be in the frame? You're out of the frame. I can't see you. Please make sure that you're positioned within the frame at all times, because I'll be checking in on you in terms of your presence and your participation. Okay. Do all of you have your writing material? Show me your pencils or pens in your hands, please. Right. Just by way of registering that you are ready. Okay. Javen, can you please come back to the camera? Thank you very much. You're out of frame. Okay. I need everybody in frame. Lucas as well. I need you to be framed properly so I can see you. Excellent. Thank you for showing me your writing materials. So remember, as we write, if you have any questions, if you're not sure about the meanings of certain words, can you please just put up your hands and I will attend to you as quickly as I can, all right? So today, I'm going to model for you what you do within the 50 minutes that's allocated to you for your paper 1 writing, okay? This will be the first time you're sitting for an actual exam, so I want you to be very attentive to how I portion out my time, okay? Because time management is as important as content development. Because if you don't manage your time properly, you might end up with too much to write and not enough time to write it. Then whatever you leave out will not be considered in your final performance task, okay? So be very careful how you actually manage your time. So I'm going to go right into it now. You must always start with a 5-minute planning session. How many minutes? Show me your fingers. How many minutes should you use to plan? Awesome, right? Okay. So you know Mr. Pang's very fond of the numbers 3 and 5, right? So 5 is the number of minutes you should take at least to construct a simple story mountain so that you can follow the arc of your narrative, okay? Arc means that it must go through a certain few phases, right? Can you still remember the story mountain? Okay, can you still remember the parts of the story mountain? There are 5 parts altogether, right? So I'm going to very quickly construct it here, okay? Sorry, give me a minute. My computer is a little laggy, yeah? I apologize for that. Okay, I'm trying to share off my iPad and it's taking a little bit more load than I expected. Okay, give me 1 minute. Okay, that should work. Okay, so, right, story mountain, I'm going to construct it like so. Okay, now do go ahead and draw this story mountain in a very small way on the left-hand corner of your paper, okay? We will use the top left-hand corner of our paper as our planning area, and there's no need to leave a line, okay? Right? So if you all remember, there are 5 points on the story mountain, and I must always just quickly label it. Okay, so introduction, rising action, climax, falling action, and conclusion, right? I follow the narrative arc, right, in my story. So I have this idea, I'm ready to engage the story, and I would like to get into the ideas of how to build a picture. Okay, so before I do that, I need to identify the keywords here. Okay, so the keywords here are an unlucky day, right? You don't have this, so I want you to write down an unlucky day at the bottom of your story mountain like this, okay? Like so, okay? Somewhere at the bottom of your story mountain, write down the keywords unlucky day. So you must have this in mind as you plan your story, okay? The keyword will always be at the center of your story. So how unlucky your character is must be at the climax of your story, okay? So the climax of your story should be about an unlucky incident or an unlucky encounter that makes this an unlucky day, okay? So far, everybody following with Mr. Pang? Give me a thumbs up if you're okay, right? So I'm working through with all of you, the keyword. Now, the next step after I identify the keyword, in this case, unlucky, right? The second step is to then look into which picture I should use, okay? How many pictures? Use your fingers to tell me. Should I always use when I'm writing a composition? How many pictures should I use, right? Show me your fingers. With your fingers, how many pictures should I always use? Mr. Bang has taught you all the time, right? Yes, only 1. Not 2, Jolene, 1, okay? Why? Because the more pictures you use, the more restricted your story becomes, right? The more like trapped within the pictures you become. 1 picture allows you the most balance between creativity as well as guidance from the pictures, okay? So always make it a habit of choosing 1 main picture. You can choose 2, I'm not saying you can't, but try to work off of 1, right? Make sure that 1 is your primary picture. The other one can be a supporting picture. you know, like main character, supporting character, right? Your one picture can be the main picture, but the other one can be your supporting picture. That's not a problem, okay? But today, looking at this, I'm just going to circle this one, okay? So I'm going to go with something we've done before, right? Remember the last WA, we were writing about an incident that happened in a rainy day. Do y'all remember your last WA? Right, there was an incident that happened during the rainy day. So I'm going to recycle that storyline, right? I don't have to come up with something from scratch. I can remember what I've written in the past. And then I'm just going to very quickly plan this in my 5 minutes, right? So I'm going to talk about maybe I'm on my way to school, right? And then it starts to rain. Okay, so you notice when I'm planning, I don't need a lot of words. I can just write 1 or 2 words so that the main ideas guide me in the way that I write my paragraphs, okay? So the first story will be the setting, right? How I'm on my way to school, right? And then the second paragraph could be when the problem presents itself, right? It starts to get cloudy, dark, overcast. It begins to pour, it begins to you know, like rain really heavily. And then my climax will be the problem, right? So what could happen on a rainy day on my way to school? What problem could I encounter? Remember, all narratives must have a problem, right? So there must be a conflict. In this case, I want an external conflict. Can anyone suggest something that might happen on a rainy day when I'm rushing to school, right, on my way, Rochelle?
You have an umbrella, then the umbrella flies away.
I am very sorry. Give me 1 minute now. I just realized that I didn't enable. Okay, sorry, Rochelle, can you say that again?
You have an umbrella, then it flies away.
Okay, right. So your umbrella gets blown away by the wind. Okay, and then as a result of that, what happens to you? What's the unlucky part of this incident? Is it the umbrella being blown away necessarily? That's part of it, right? But more importantly, what happens when the umbrella is blown away? Kevin?
You get wet.
Yep. Okay, so then what happens is you want to get your character into some trouble, right? Because the bigger the problem, the better the story, right? So in this case, the problem is that your character is completely drenched, right? It's really heavy rain. Nathaniel, are you paying attention? Please pay attention. Is that clear? Remember what I said about being present in the moment and not being lost in your own thoughts? Okay, so the idea is that there is a heavy rainstorm, your umbrella is blown away. So you need to explain, you need to describe this because this is the most exciting part of your story, right? How you struggle against the storm and the elements and how you lose that battle and how you get drenched. That's what makes the day unlucky, right? Remember, this is the main part of your story. You should be spending the most amount of time developing this section. Everybody clear? Do you all understand? Okay, so this part will be the longest part of your story. Do not spend too much time on the first or second paragraphs. The third and fourth paragraphs are the key. Now, every problem should have a solution, right? So yes, you were unlucky. Yes, you were drenched. What might happen to make the situation even worse? Remember, the problem gets worse before it gets better. So your umbrella gets blown away, you get drenched in the rain, and then what can make it even worse? Right in the moment, cannot be too far away, must be in the moment, something that happens immediately after that. Don't think about 5 days later you caught a cold one. I want everything happening within the narrative arc, meaning within that time frame. What else can happen to intensify the problem? Zikai.
You had homework, then the homework paper got drenched.
Okay, maybe your homework was like completely ruined, right? By being exposed to the rain. That's one possibility. Good. Can you all give me some other ideas besides homework getting ruined? Keen?
You slip and fall.
You slip and fall, right? Because you're like completely drenched and you're trying to run out of the rain, and so you lose your balance and you fall. Okay, so to make matters worse, right? You please scribe all of this down, right, on your paper. To make matters worse, you fall, right? And your homework is scattered on the wet ground. Okay, is this unlucky enough for you? Right, everybody? Notice that Mr. Pang does not stop with one incident, right? I intensify the problem. The whole point here is that the worse the problem becomes, the more interesting the story gets. Correct, everybody? Do y'all feel that way? Right? Have you heard of this story called A Series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket? How many of you have read that story? A Series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket. right? It's a series that y'all can go and explore, but it's quite depressing because in every storybook, worse and worse things happen to the children, right? They get into worse and worse trouble. Okay, so it's I mean, it's a bit pessimistic lah. But the point of the story is the problem gets worse and you can't look away. You have to keep reading, right? You have to keep reading because it gets more and more interesting. More and more problems, more and more interest. Everybody clear? So when you're writing a story to your readers, right, you want your readers to sustain interest, but you don't want them to get bored and like close your book or put your essay away, right? You want them to be really enthused all the way to the end. So try to accentuate your problem, make it worse, right? Make it even worse. So like what Rochelle and Keen and various ones said, first you get drenched, then you fall, and then finally your homework gets completely ruined because it's scattered on the ground. Everybody good so far, right? Now, let me ask you this next question. Usually when we have a problem, we have a solution, right? We have a solution, right? Correct, everybody? When we have a problem, we generally have a solution, right? Do you think a solution is necessary in this case? How many of you say yes? Please use the reaction button to give me a thumbs up if you think that there should be a solution for this problem. Think about it. It's okay. There's no wrong answer. But tell me, if you think there should be a solution, put a thumbs up. If you think no, then put a thumbs down or a cross. Okay? Go ahead. I want to see what you think. It doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong answer. What do you think? Right? Okay, okay. I see quite a lot of crosses. I see 1 or 2 ticks and thumbs ups. Okay, so maybe I'll call a few of you just to give me an idea about why you think so. Okay, maybe I'll ask Fabian. Fabian, why do you think there shouldn't be a solution?
Because our problem should get more worse before the solution could be solved.
No, but our problem already got worse, right? See, you got drenched, then you fell, then your homework scattered, so it already got worse. So now I'm asking, after it gets worse, right? Should it get better? Right? Should it get a solution? So Fabian, you're saying yes, there should be a solution after that, is it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I want somebody who says no, no solution at all, zero solution, right? Alpheus, would you like to explain why you think there should be no solution? Try to unmute yourself so we can hear you.
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay, does anybody have a strong idea about why you think there should not be a solution? Please wave your hand so I can see. Anybody has a strong idea? Okay, Keen, go. I see you waving your hand.
Because you can't just immediately go back home and put in the dryer and then wait until it gets warm and then you can walk back to
I get
school.
what you mean. You're saying that it's not easy to solve the problem, but no, that's not the point here. I'm asking you whether there should be a solution or not how easy it is to solve the problem. Okay, thank you. Anybody? Any one of you who put cross have a strong idea about why there should not be a solution? Okay, I will park that. I'll ask some of you who said yes. You said there should be a solution. Anybody wants to tell me why there should be a solution? Jeline? Jeline? Go ahead.
Because when there's a problem, there should be a solution.
Okay, that's what I taught you generally, but give me a better reason, Kevin.
If like your homework gets wet
Mm-hmm.
or your textbooks get wet, you can just go to the bookshop and buy it.
Okay, so you're saying that it's easy to find a solution, but it's the same as what I told Keen, right? I'm not asking you whether it's going to be easy or difficult to get a solution. I'm asking you, should there be a solution? And my interpretation for this answer is no. Do you know why you shouldn't have a solution for this particular problem? Look at the keyword here. What's the keyword? What are you writing here? Ethan, go ahead.
It's supposed to be an unlucky day. If there's a solution, it will not be unlucky anymore. You'll be
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you. Did you all hear what Ethan said? Did you all hear what Ethan said? Do you agree with what Ethan said? Right? The story is an unlucky incident. If I manage to solve the problem and I manage to make it go away, is it still an unlucky day, everybody? No, what? It becomes a day on which I solve the problem, right? So the problem in this case should not be solved. And that is why Mr. Pang chose this example, right? So there are situations, boys and girls, where you don't solve the problem, especially when the theme of the story is, a difficult day, a challenging day, unlucky day. Then you might want to end the day in a negative note because your character should experience an unlucky incident, right? Should not just do away with it. Okay, so very good. So I'm not going to go into a solution. Instead, I'm going to end the day. My falling action will be how sad my character is, right? How sad my character is that he has or she has experienced this series of unfortunate events. And then the conclusion, okay, the conclusion to the story will be how maybe I am comforted by my friends, okay? Okay, my character is comforted, right? Or encouraged by his friends rather than ending on a completely negative note. Okay, everybody, are y'all following me so far? All good? Do you all agree with this flow of story? Do you all know why it might not be a good idea to give a solution to the story? Okay, awesome. Very good. I see a lot of nodding heads, huh? Great. Okay, now let's go on to the actual fashioning of the story. So notice that the rain, right, already appears in my second paragraph. So I already covered the requirement of the picture, right? The rain appears in my second paragraph. I'm good. I've covered, right? I'm ready to go into the rest of my story already, okay? In fact, do you notice that I also used the second picture? Did y'all notice that I also used the second picture? Right, this is like a minor, it's like a minor part because I'm on my way to school. See, the school in the first paragraph already covers the second picture. Okay, but my main picture is actually the third picture. Okay, now turn to like leave a line, right? You give it some space and let's get started. Okay, can anyone tell me, cue me in, how do I usually start my story? Someone please. Right, we always start our stories in a very standard way, right? Yes, Yadavi, go ahead.
We talk about the settings first.
Very good. We talk about the setting. Would you like to suggest a way that we can start the story?
A dark and stormy day.
Okay, all right. Let's go with that. Thank you very much, Yadavi. It was... No need to leave a line, okay, everybody? Now, what day would this have to be for it to be a school day? Let's choose a day. Okay. Keen?
Friday.
Okay. Okay, let's give some attention to describing the weather, right? We talked about how it's dark and stormy. Let's elaborate on that and let's give some descriptive detail. Remember, we always insert descriptive detail in the setting to make it look more real, right? To give it a lot more information. Rochelle, go ahead.
Gray clouds hung in the sky.
Would you like to give me another line? I like how it begins. Okay. Continue on.
Rain was imminent.
Very good. Rochelle, can you explain to everybody what the word imminent means?
Imminent means about to happen.
Excellent, thank you. So it's threatening to rain, right? It's about to rain. It's just on the cusp of raining, just about to rain. Okay, so Rochelle has used a very good word and I want everybody to highlight it. Okay, imminent, right? This, by the way, was one of the words in the helping list. So I'm very glad that Rochelle is using it. Thank you very much. Okay, so gray clouds hung in the sky. I'm describing the scene. And then rain was imminent. I am like foreshadowing, right? I'm telling everybody that something bad is about to happen and it's going to involve the rain. Nicely inserted, also connected to my third picture, which is my main picture. Okay, now try to use all of your senses when you are describing the setting, right? Remember, we talked about our 5 senses. So here, gray clouds hung in the sky is my eyes, right? I'm looking at the clouds and I'm observing that rain is about to come. What other senses can I use to describe this dark and stormy Friday morning? Anyone? Quickly, what other senses can I use to describe what's going on, to make it more vivid, right? Let's use maybe our sense of hearing. What do we hear on a dark and stormy day, right? Okay, come quickly. Anybody, everybody, someone. Think I go?
Thunder rumbled in the distance.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. I'm going to give it a little bit of audio, in addition to visual. Are you all scribing along with me? Okay, so these are all good phrases that you can keep in your mind when you're describing a rainy day. And very often, many stories like have rainy days. So you can always recycle some of these expressions, okay? So gray clouds hung in the sky, rain was imminent, thunder rumbled in the distance, okay? Now, what kind of temperature would accompany a rainy Friday morning? What kind of temperature, you know, what sensation would you have when you are experiencing a dark and stormy Friday morning? Anyone? What kind of temperature are you experiencing when it's dark and it's stormy? What kind of temperature? What is your experience? Jing Kai,
Cold.
right? So you want to build that sense of coldness, right, into the story. So how would I show coldness? Do I say it was very cold? No, right? How would I
Shivered in
express?
coldness.
Sorry, what? Jing Kai, go.
Shivered in coldness.
Who shivered? Who shivered?
I.
Okay, right. So you want to insert yourself into the story. Now, remember, it is an unlucky day you had, right? So yes, you can be the main character in the story, right? So I shivered uncontrollably. Okay, remember we learned this phrase? Again, I'm just trying to recycle everything that we've learned. I shivered uncontrollably in the cool breeze, right? As I made my way to the bus stop. To make matters worse, I was late for school. Okay? Now, let's pause for a minute and let's ask ourselves some important questions. Have I introduced my character? Who is my character? Nathaniel, who is my character?
I.
Very good. Thank you. What is my character doing in this first paragraph? Josiah, what is my character doing?
Going to school.
Very good. He's going to the bus stop to catch a bus to go to school, right? All of this is already there, right? It's in the information, right? And of course, Peng Sim, what is the problem that my author is about to face? Or what is my problem that my character is about to face? Can you predict from this paragraph?
Late to school.
Very good. My character is late for school, right? But there's going to be another problem that we'll introduce in the next paragraph, right? It's going to start to
Rain.
Yeah, that's right. Very good. Okay, so let's go to the next paragraph. Now, I want this to be dramatic and sudden, okay? So I'm going to use the connector. How do I signal that something is going to happen unexpectedly? Anyone? What connector or what phrase do I use to start a sentence to tell my readers that something unexpected is about to occur? What would I use to signal that? Ethan?
Suddenly.
Okay, suddenly, but suddenly is very old. I keep using suddenly. I'm very bored by it. Can I use something else besides suddenly? That's what I want you all to think. Don't always go for the easy to reach words. Try to reach a little further. Okay, Asher? Asher, you have to unmute yourself.
Sudden.
All of a sudden? I don't want to use the word sudden. I don't want suddenly. Rochelle, go.
Out of the blue.
Out of the blue. Okay, that's possible. Okay, I'll consider that. Keen?
Unexpectedly.
Unexpectedly, okay, that works as well. Okay, though that is a little challenging to spell, right? Can I use without warning? Can I use without warning? Is that okay with everybody? Right, just so I add to the repertoire. Okay, so without warning. Comma. There was a deafening crash of thunder. Okay, so thunder was in the distance, right? Just now we thought we heard from Jing Kai, but now the thunder is right here, which means that the storm is right above us, right? There was a deafening crash and the rain came pouring down. Okay, can I liken it to something? Can I do like a simile, compare it to something? Rain comes pouring down. What is rain pouring down like? Like what? Please don't say like cats and dogs. That's not the valid one. In this case, Keen.
Like a waterfall.
Okay, right. That works. That works. Very good. I like that. Like a waterfall. Okay, so it's sudden. It happens without warning. So do you think that your character has had a time to take out the umbrella and deploy it and stand under the shade of the umbrella? Got time or not? No, right? So you see, I'm setting up my story such that my character will immediately get into trouble. Okay, so I don't want to waste too much time. I want to get straight into how unlucky my character is going to be, right? So remember, it's unlucky. I must keep coming back to this word, okay? Everything that happens to my character must be unlucky, right? To keep on the theme of the story, okay? So rain came pouring down like a waterfall, right? Within seconds, right? I was, remember it's I, don't change your character midway through. If it starts out as I, it must always be I. You cannot change it to Adam or Alan. Don't lose track of your character, okay? Always keep it to the same. If it's going to be Alan, it must be Alan. If it's going to be I, it must always be I, okay? I was drenched. And shivering. Okay, so first step of problem complete, right? So at the most basic level, I have already written about the problem, but I now want to make it worse. Okay, what might happen next? Kaden, would you like to suggest what's going to happen next? Just give it a try, it's okay, right? We can always improve it. Rochelle, go ahead, try. Thank you.
I fall, then the homework gets scattered around the floor.
I'm sorry, I'm very sorry, Rochelle. Do you mind giving me 1 minute? Okay, hold on. Hold on 1 second. Okay, 1 second. Wait. Okay, that's something wrong with my volume. Hold on. Okay, all right, Rochelle, can you say that again, please? Sorry.
After that, I accidentally fall down and then all the homework is scattered.
Okay, I accidentally fell down. Alpheus, can you sit properly, please? You are in a lesson, you're not at home lounging around. Please be aware of your proper posture as you sit and as you attend my lesson. Thank you very much. Okay, sorry about that. So I think Rochelle's on the right track, but let's refine it a little bit, okay? So you imagine your character is standing in the rain, right? Totally soaked, right? Then what would cause your character to suddenly fall down? Right? You can't just suddenly fall down like this, right? Something must trigger the fall, right? You must be doing something that causes the fall, right? Javier, do you have an idea?
Running.
Very good. What do you think he's running for? What might he be running for? Because he's there at that moment. Yeah?
The bus.
Yes, go on.
The
Yes.
bus.
Yes, very good. Can you see how I link it? Right? So don't just suddenly out of the blue, your character falls, right? It doesn't make any sense, right? There must be something he's doing that causes him to fall, right? So you must build it step by step, right? Just then, okay, so I'm going to carry on with the story. I saw my bus arriving at the bus stop, right? Now remember, we were just writing in the first paragraph that our character is late, isn't he? Right? He's late. So he doesn't have the luxury of missing the bus. He has to catch this bus, right? So that's going to cause him to sprint, run, dash, right? So I can use any one of these words. I think I'll use the word dash, right? dashing for the bus. Okay, so as you're dashing, what might cause you to lose your balance in the rain? Asher?
You trip on a stone.
Nope. I want to link this to the rain, right? I want to link this to the rain. After all, my picture is of a rainy day, right? What can I use about the rain to make this a fall? Alpheus, go for it.
The floor was slippery, so I fell.
Very good. So I slipped on a puddle, right? Very good, right? Okay, so I slipped in a puddle, right? You all know, right? When the floor gets wet, right? There are puddles, right? It's very easy for you to like skid or slip, right? And then you lose your balance. Okay, just as Ethan mentioned. And then I fall, right? All in past tense. And remember, what is the expression that we always use when we are describing someone falling very heavily? What is the phrase that we always use? Yes, Ethan.
Fell with a resounding thud.
That's right. We've used this several times, haven't we? Right? A lot of falls in our compositions. Okay, so you can recycle some of these phrases. Don't be afraid to use them again. Okay. Okay, so my character is drenched. My character falls. And as if that's not worse, that's not bad enough, something worse happens. What else happens after he falls with a resounding thud? What's the next step in making this problem even worse? The last step. Adele?
The bus left.
No, not yet. Okay, that's good. That's good. All right, that's good. We'll keep that for last. But before the bus left, remember we were discussing in our earlier planning phase, what happened worse than that, Asher, after he fell?
There was blood.
No. Can you all refer back here? Okay, what happened after the fall? Look here. What happened after the fall? Caitlin?
The homework scattered onto the floor.
Yeah, that's right. Right, yes, okay. Okay, and it's not the floor, it's the pavement, okay? The pavement is the path you walk on to get to the bus stop, right? So we want to use words like pavement instead of floor, because that's more accurate, okay? So my homework scattered on the wet and dirty pavement. Now I think that's good enough, right? Well, bad enough, right? We've made the problem worse and worse and worse. And then we can use Adele's tidbit about the bus leaving, right? To make matters worse, the bus left. Okay? Now, I know you are tempted to go straight into the next paragraph, but there's something missing here. Can anyone tell me what is missing here? There's something very, very big that's missing from this part of the story. What's missing, Asher?
The homework.
The homework? No, the homework is there. The homework is scattered all over the floor. It's right there. It's not missing. Something I'm not writing in my story that's very important that I left out. What did I leave out? Can anyone look at this paragraph and tell me what's missing from this paragraph? I give you a hint. It's got something to do with your character. Aha, okay, Yadavi?
The character's feelings.
Yes, praise be. That is correct. You must always connect what happens to what your character feels, right? Otherwise, it's not a story. It's just a recount, okay? So you must insert feelings. Feelings. So imagine you are the character. You are the character, basically. It's I, right? How would you feel if you were drenched and soaked to the skin, if you had just fallen and scuffed your knees, if you had just seen your homework scattered across the wet and dirty floor, probably ruined? How would you feel? What are the words that you would use to describe your feelings at that point in time? Anyone want to just throw out a few words? No wrong answers. Let's just see which ones are better. Anyone? I'll just call a few people and see. Chloe, do you have any words in mind for what you would feel if this had happened to you?
Embarrassed.
Embarrassed, okay. Because you are in public, right? And all your homework is scattered on the ground for everybody to see. Good. Though it is a challenging word to spell. Chloe, I test you. Can you spell embarrassed?
Embarrassed.
A few letters missing there, but never mind. Thank you for your trial. Later, I'm going to write it there. I want you all to learn this word. Okay, good. I'll accept one of those words as embarrassed. Good attempt. Asher, would you like to add to it? I saw your hand raised. Or did you want to spell the word? Asher? Asher?
I wanted to spell it.
Okay, never mind then. Okay, anybody else has any other words to contribute? How would you feel? Like all of a sudden this happened in front of you. Your homework's gone. You're late for school. You're totally drenched and you're injured. How would you feel? How would you feel? Anyone? Embarrassed? And Rochelle? Rochelle?
Sad.
Yes, but I want a stronger word than that. Sad is such a primary one word, right? I want something a little bit more advanced, a little bit stronger. Lucas? Lucas?
Depressed.
Depressed is a very dangerous word. I don't want anybody to use the word depressed or depression. It's often used incorrectly, right? Don't use the word depressed or depression. No, don't use that word, okay? That's not the word to use when you want to replace sad with something. Don't use that word, okay? Don't use it, I said it a few times already. Don't use the word depressed, Okay, Javier?
Shocked.
Sorry?
Shocked.
What was that?
Shocked.
No, that's an action, not a feeling, right? Sob, S-O-B-B-E-D, is crying, right? No? What was it? What is it?
SHOCKED.
Oh, shocked. Okay, yes. Yes, yes. Agreed. Shocked. Horrified. Yes, yes. Caitlin?
Upset.
Upset. Okay, but I would prefer something a bit stronger than upset, but okay, yep. Yadavi?
Frustrated.
Frustrated. Stronger than that even. Rochelle?
Devastated.
Ooh, devastated. That was the word I was waiting for. Good. Ethan?
Dumbfounded.
No, dumbfounded is more like confused, right? No, not really suitable in this case. We're looking at somebody who's feeling really, really horrified at what's happened. Dumbfounded is more like I'm puzzled. I'm uncertain. Okay, so no, not really dumbfounded. But it's a good word, just not suitable for this. Okay, so let's go with devastated. Okay. Right. I was devastated by what had happened. My homework was ruined. And I was horribly late. Okay. Now I can go on to my next paragraph. I'm 3/4 of the way through my story already. My next two paragraphs will be rather short because remember I said that this is going to be Lucas. Please mute yourself. Rochelle, please mute yourself. I can hear you. Thank you. Right. So very important that you remember the balance of the story. See, the first paragraph, right, is the introduction. And then the second paragraph is the rising action and the climax. See, it's much longer. Can you all see? Right. So I don't spend too much time in the introduction, right? I move very quickly to develop the rising action, climax, and falling action, the golden triangle. Remember? I want to make this the meaty part of my story, okay? This is where all the unlucky things happen. Okay, this is where I put all my unlucky things so that it meets the requirements of the keyword in this question. Okay, so now I have this, I can go on to my next paragraph, and it doesn't have to be that long anymore. Okay, I can just round it off. Okay, when I finally, okay. Okay. Remember, I'm late. I'm horribly late. So what happens to me when I finally show up in school? What happens to you when you walk into school 1 hour late and enter Mr. Pang's class? What happens to you, Ethan?
Get reprimanded.
Yes. Yafia, do you agree with what was said? Yes. Okay, right? So I am going to tie things up already, right? Remember, there's no solution to this problem. So everything just gets worse and worse, right? So I got to tie up all my loose ends, right? I'm late, so I get reprimanded. My homework is ruined, so what do I have to do? Anyone? Remember, my homework scattered on the ground, totally ruined, wet and dirty floor, right? So what is the consequence of that particular action? Anyone else besides Ethan who would like to try this? Okay, Caitlin?
Redo.
Okay, can you give me a complete sentence to describe what happened to the character rather than just one word?
I had to redo my homework.
Right, okay. Right, I had to redo my homework and stay back after school, right? Because I can't do it during lessons, right? I've got to like do it after lessons, right? Okay, so as y'all can see, it's very, very structured. Remember, the story mountain mirrors each other, right? So whatever is in the problem must get solved. But in this case, I don't solve it, I make it worse, right? So problem, late for school. Gets worse, I get scolded. Problem, homework is ruined. Gets worse, I have to redo my homework again. So it's a horrible day, right? It's a very unlucky day, right? So it comes back to the unlucky day that I'm experiencing. It just gets worse and worse. Okay. As I made my way home, I reflected on how it was the most unlucky day of my life. I could not wait. What can you not wait for? I could not wait for what? Anybody? You want to guess? How do I end this? I could not wait for what? What could I not wait for? Ethan?
Tomorrow.
Before tomorrow comes, what must happen first? Yes, Yadavi.
For the day to end.
Yes, that's right. Very good. I could not wait for this horrible day to end, right? Yeah, I could not wait for this horrible day to end. Now, usually in the last paragraph, I will have another section for lesson that I learned, right? But is there a lesson that you can learn from this? Everybody? Is there? It's just an unlucky sequence of events, right? So there are some topics, right, where you don't need a lesson. It's just how you feel at the end of the day, right? You feel that's horrible. You can't wait for it to end, right? So in stories that don't require a reflection or a moral or a lesson learned, always end the story with your feelings. And to be safe, make sure that your feelings reflect the keyword of the writing task. In this case, can you see that I wrote that it was the most unlucky day of my life, right? So that word unlucky mirrors the keyword from the question. So I am very clear that from the beginning to the end of my story, I have kept to the requirement, which is to write a story about an unlucky incident or an unlucky day. Everybody clear? So this is how I keep my story in line from beginning to end. This is how I make sure that I focus everything that I write on the right thing and I'm not writing out of point. Okay? Always come back to the keyword and always remember to check that you have the picture. What is the picture for this that we chose? Everybody, what is the picture? What's the picture that we chose?
A lucky day.
I repeat my question again. What is the picture that we chose? Picture. What is the picture that we chose? Ada?
Rain.
Sorry?
Is it the rain picture?
Yes, the picture of the rain. Very good. Yep. So remember, we chose the picture of the rain as our primary picture, right? So do I have the picture of this rain in my story? Is it raining in my story? Absolutely yes. Right? So I can tick it off. I'm very safe. Do I have the second picture actually? Do I talk about going to school? Do I talk about being late for school? Actually, yes. In fact, I have two pictures here, all right? But remember what Mr. Bang says, you only need to focus your story around one main picture, because if you try to write all the pictures, right, your story is too restricted. You cannot like have enough space to develop your story. You're stuck on linking the three pictures. So try to work with just one. But in this case, it seems to lend itself to two. So it's fine. Okay, everybody all clear? So I recap very quickly, 5 minutes, and then, I'll give you a little bit of a break. So you notice I start with always the keyword. The keyword's unlucky, right? Then I go down and I look at the pictures, right? I choose one picture. If I have any helping words, I try to use the helping words, right? And link it to the pictures. Then I start to write using the plan that I've come up with, the story mountain, right? So notice my story mountain very fast, 2 minutes only, right? I just write keywords. So my introduction, I'll talk about I'm going to school. My rising action, I'm going to talk about suddenly rains. Then my climax, I'm going to talk about what happens when it rains. I get drenched. I fall. My homework gets ruined. Then falling action, how do I feel, right? The character's feelings, right? I'm devastated. I'm shocked. I'm embarrassed, right? Elaborate on your feelings. And then finally, what happens at the end? You get to school, right? You have to face the music for being late, right? You've got to redo your homework because it's been ruined, right? So you tie up all the loose ends in the conclusion so that nothing is left for your reader to guess. You have said and explained everything. And then at the end, you put a little moral or a thought or reflection to end your story so that your readers understand what your characters feel or what your characters have learned at the end of this story. Okay? Do y'all have any questions about this? Okay, later on at around 1 to 1:30, I will post something very similar to this for you all to practice on. And what I'd like to see is these same elements in your practice story. Are you able to do this? Right, Kenna, you all should be very familiar with it by now. You should be quite comfortable doing this. I remind you, use the synonym replacement tool. Not if you know what I'm talking about. Yes, okay. Please use the synonym replacement tool if you need to level up your words. And then also please use the phrases and the vocabulary lists I've given to you, right? If you want to look into how to describe the anger of your character or the frustration of your character or the sadness of your character, refer to those word lists, right? They can give you pretty good words and phrases and even synonyms, like similes and metaphors to describe the feelings of your characters. That's what I want you to focus on, okay? So take a break, have a good lunch, and then later check in on SLS, try to finish it by today.